Hi, I'm Stacy Sobel with Barbering Today Conversations, and I'm here with Darius Davie, the founder of the Groom Guy. And you saw an opportunity coming out of the pandemic that the hospitality world was reshaping itself. Talk to us
hmm
a little bit about that and what opportunity you saw.
Sure. So thank you first and foremost, Stacey, for
You're
having me
very
today.
welcome.
Glad to be here and connect with you. So one of the things we quickly discovered at the height of the pandemic was that there was just a need of a conversation around wellness. The conversation around wellness has been rather kind of in certain spaces rather linear. And so we wanted to be able to expand that notion in service. And so we quickly also realized that our self-care service of what we know as traditional haircutting falls directly in line with the space of health and wellness. So once we understood the kind of the brand association between the two, the collaborative service, it made sense to kind of discover, okay, where was the holes, right? Where did we figure out in the space of hospitality that we can kind of position ourselves? And so after doing some brief history and realizing what we had, it was a good space and time to take a chance because hotels needed it. They wanted something new. They wanted some self-care element outside of your fitness center and your gym.
In your job. And what is talk a little bit about your background? So where did you come from and how did you get into grooming?
Sure. So I am New York City. I'm from New York City, directly right in the heart. So I grew up in Manhattan. So I always kind of had kind of a view on understanding different cultures and people, and I was able to uniquely discover that through hair. So it wasn't up until about 7 years ago where I was working for a startup that focused on the men's grooming industry. And so kind of understanding the behind the scenes, the back end side, the business side was paramount to me. Simply and then kind of going into the world of men's cutting and men's hairstyling, both of that together allowed me to understand I want to create something, right? I wanted to create some type of concept. And so I started in barber school in New York City. I was licensed there. I spent time working in both from a startup and transitioned into working in a salon for many years. And then I made a move to Washington, D.C., where I spent another 3 years at a salon right in the heart of the city, right in the heart of downtown. So I love being in metropolitan areas.
So the Groom Guy is, you say, a blend between an old school barbershop with a modern, unique twist. Um,
hmm
so kind of take us through, you have two locations now, one in DC and one at the PGA Golf Resort in Palm Beach. So kind of talk us through, as a client goes through, what's the experience at the Groom Guy?
Sure. So because we are in these hotels uniquely placed, you kind of have that full immersed waiting area. You have the elements that come into knowing that your car could be parked with valet. You know that there's food and beverage that is an another angle to the hospitality industry. So that goes without question being served, right? And then ultimately, like I tell a lot of people, we sit down very much like the doctor, right? So every location has the traditional stool that you see at the dentist or at the doctor's office because we create that intimate approach, right, into our consultations, right? For us, it's not enough to just cut hair, but also know how to create customer service, which is a pillar, essentially a pillar for us in this business. And that starts with asking the right questions, right? What do you love? What do you not like about your traditional service? Why are you here today, right? A lot of our market base is around travelers too. So there's a lot of movement that happens there. So we have a short window of time to leave a really good mark on what we can do in terms of our service style.
Because you're in resorts, you probably have a different concept. You don't have the client that's coming in regularly every 3 to 4 weeks.
Mhm.
It might be when they're on a business trip in that location again, they come back.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
say they're creating ambassadors to spread the word about the Groom Guy. So how's that working?
It's working out really well. So what we're able to do is really understand like seasons, right? We're also able to understand and pivot our business towards maybe there's a members club associated with the resort, and we can tap into that. And then the other part of that is important is our programming. So we're able to work directly with the hotel to create specialty programming that serves groups. So outside of your traditional day-to-day services. So whether it's a wedding service, whether it's a conference, whether you have a cocktail special that you want to run with the hotel, right? All of those elements allow us to leave our footprint, our Groom Guy footprint into the part of the experience for the client. And it continues to show results. So with us being at PGA, we have a golf tournament coming up. We have a couple coming up. So that's a good opportunity for us to kind of get into the stage and find ourselves at the helm of essentially grooming, golf, and culture.
That's great. And then at Palm Beach, you're located within V-Star, which is the spa that's owned by Venus Williams. And you said that they recognized an opportunity that men were really being overlooked in the spa area, and this kind of addresses that and brings them back in to wellness.
Yeah, absolutely, Stacey. Absolutely. We the PGA and both V-Star understood there had to be a driving force to help introduce all the elements of wellness. So when they established the barbershop space and they established and said we need a men's grooming facility, it was our job to kind of play that role, right? How do we make sure that they're immersed in not just getting their hair cutting service, but all of the things that the spa has to offer, right? So it's your facial treatments, it's your waxes, it's your trimmings, it's your, you know what I mean? It's all of those things that play a role, but we positioned ourselves as the activator, right? To start that conversation and ultimately segue them into everything else, right?
Right, great. So you use in the concept, the Groom Guy concept, you use artist shaving products. What else do you have affiliations with? What other products or tools?
Sure. So we started with the art of shaving. We continue to work with smaller independent brands such as Stephen J. It's based out of Canada. We have a New York City men's grooming line called Scotch Porter that we carry. Another brand based out of Virginia is the Grooming. So, and a lot of these we have direct relationships with, right? Whether it's the owners, the CEOs who have either seen our work or understand that as a grooming brand, they want to position themselves in the hotel hospitality sector too. And this is a great space for them to do so. So we work with currently about 10 different brands.
That's great. I love the whole concept behind the Groom Guy. What will you say your plans are for the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see yourself around the country in different resorts? Do you see yourself growing beyond that to independent locations? Where do you think you'll grow this?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. I've always found myself, as things continue to move, kind of rediscovering where we would be. But I will say, it's kind of the old saying, grandmother says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So if we are working in the hotel space and there seems to be an appetite for it and we're continuing to grow, I really can see that we are kind of the new lifeline for a lot of these hotels who want to have that concentration of wellness. So whether that be here in Washington, D.C., whether that's expanding to a place like Las Vegas, we can customize every Groom Guy experience where that meets to the need of the hotel facility. And I think that's what makes us unique too, is really getting on the ground floor of the design piece, the customer experience, the educational part for the training and the trainees. All of those elements play a vital role. But to answer your question, we definitely want to see ourselves expanding across the board to other hotels.
That's great. And I imagine it's great for the hotel as well, because although you're obviously getting an infusion of those seasonal guests or those guests that are there as guests of the hotel, you are probably an attraction for the hotel to bring in local people that may not visit the hotel for another reason, but they're coming because they want to experience Groom Guy. So, or
yes.
the spa.
Yeah, we once again, we are the drivers. We are the drivers. I like to, if I may, I sometimes like to compare ourselves to the automotive industry, and I love companies like Porsche, right? Because Porsche has been able to be timeless with such a signature car of two chair automobile, and we're a two chair space. So I always use that comparison of, and we think about kind of the luxury and where we want to be and how we want to kind of be the driving force for the hotel. So it's definitely allowed us to open up doors and most importantly, see how we can also support the hair professional community and the other next generation of talent.
Well, Darius, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for telling us about the Groom Guy, and we look forward to learning more and seeing how you grow.
Daisy, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.